What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Let's Play Dark Souls 2. Today we are going to be finishing up the Forest of Fallen Giants at long last to finally fight our first boss fight of the game, and probably our second one as well. It's been quite a bit, especially for a Souls game, without a single boss fight going on. But we're going to start to pick up the pace a little bit now that we are finally getting towards the end of our first major area of the game. We'll make sure he is not going to ambush us. That door in front of him is locked for the time being. We need a key that we're only going to be able to get once we defeat the first boss. The same key will unlock that door. Quick little tip, anytime you see enemies like that, enemies who are they just appear to be corpses lying around, assume that they're going to get up and ambush you once you walk a decent distance past them. In this case, if I had let that guy live, I would have walked up that tree branch, would have made it over here to the palisade, started attacking him, and I probably would have right about now been taking the pointy end of a sword in my colon. So safety first. Take precautionary swipes at inanimate enemies who do... I forgot he was coming. I would like to knock him off the ledge, but nah, we'll take a good look at the pursuer, which is his name, who was just carpet bombed onto us randomly. That is gonna be our second boss of the game. I think for most people, he's probably going to just, in general, be the second boss. You can totally fight him right there on that rooftop. I am not going to, because that's going to rob us of a really cool intro cinematic later on when we go to fight him proper.
Hello there. Traveling all alone in these treacherous times. Well, I hope you have a very good reason. Oh, hogwash. Who am I to judge? My name is Pate. I journey hither and thither on a sort of treasure hunt, you might call it. Be careful out there. There's talk of unsavory bandits who prey upon travelers like yourself. Oh yes, you be cautious if you go any farther. There's treasure in there for certain, but the entrance locks from behind. I saw the same design earlier, and it's the same contraption, I'm sure. I was with this warrior, you see, and he insisted that he go inside first. The rather brusque fellow tried to swipe the loot for himself, but it trapped him inside. I still have the gent's ring. I do hope he wasn't harmed. I'll leave this one to you. I'm worried about what might be inside. I'll leave this one to...
Okay, that's good old reliable, trustworthy Pate, who I believe is this game's equivalent to Patches in the previous two games. And right off the bat, you notice he doesn't appear, on the surface at least, to be as much of an asshole as Patches was. In fact, he gave us forewarning about this trap. Very unlike Patches, who was a ruthless grave robber, an all-around prick. He described that he had a companion with him, a warrior, who rushed into the same trap. And now Pate has his ring, and he hopes that he wasn't harmed. You can hear it in Pate's voice, though. There's something not quite right. You can hear that little tinge of malevolence. That little... There's just something there. That little bit of evil shining through. I don't know for a fact that he is the asshole that I'm predicting him to be. Maybe the game is going to subvert my expectations. Maybe that's the whole point. Get you locked into that schema where you think, hey, Patches was an asshole for 2 games straight. Pate is gonna betray me. Maybe he won't, but he sounds suspicious. Less obviously so than Patches was, though. Patches was just, he was, as soon as any opportunity presented itself, he would just straight up kill you. Kick you down a pit, lock you behind a door with a black phantom enemy. He would do whatever he would have to do to loot your sorry corpse. Either way, we're not going to give Pate the opportunity, if he is that malevolent, to plunder anything off of our bodies, because if this all goes according to plan, we won't be leaving one. Also, I think that's it for the enemies in here, so yeah, we definitely won't be leaving one. So now that we've cleared this area out, we are left out here on this rampart, and it's just a way back down, because remember, the gate locks behind us.
Well, I see you managed to escape. I hope that brave warrior didn't come a cropper either. Be careful out there. There's talk of unsavory bandits who prey upon... Oh. But you should take this. It allows undead to call out for help to one another across the fissures between worlds. With luck, somebody will lend you a hand. Well, I hope that brave warrior didn't...
Okay, and for risking our asses, Pate gives us a white soapstone so that we can lay our summon sign down. Don't fall for the Ballista Trap. Step into the room about an inch or two to trigger it, and then back out. There should be 3. I think there might... Oh god. Oh god. This is bad. That might have been a mistake. No, I think that was a net gain in health, but... Ooh. Ooh, ooh. No, roll. Oh god, I got stuck. Yeah, I panicked, too. Hold on. Hold on, 1 second. Shit. Shit. I knew that ambush was coming, too. I knew that ambush was coming, and I still panicked, and I still died. Panic is like one of the worst things you can possibly do in Dark Souls, or any Souls game. These tight situations become totally unwinnable when you panic. It's like playing Jenga, and all of a sudden, the tower starts wobbling. Instead of being more careful, your hand starts shaking just automatically because of the adrenaline. You rip a piece out like a band-aid without thinking. And that damn witching urn, I made it a point to equip that witching urn and get that thing ready because it's an AoE damage thing like a firebomb, except it does magic damage. I got those and equipped those just for that one ambush because this room is brutal. Those 3 royal swordsmen are so brutal. Especially at this early point in the game when you have low stability shields that don't even completely negate how much damage you block. Or I mean, you block, but they don't completely negate all of the incoming damage. Goddamn. It's a brutal ambush. It's a layered ambush at that. It's the Ballista Trap followed by 3 soldiers. Very nasty. This, I believe, is our first look at the Pharros Lockstone mechanic. You will find items, these lockstones, strewn about the world, and you can use them kind of as consumable keys. And we get a Titanite slab very early in the game, which is still the highest upgrade material. Or I mean the highest standard Titanite material, and a Chloranthy ring, which does the same thing it does in Dark Souls 1, except I think that the effect is diminished. It's weaker than the one in Dark Souls, but the effect is still the same. It regenerates your stamina more quickly, or it helps your stamina to regen more quickly. Anyway, about the Pharros Lockstones. You'll find those Lockstones hidden around the world. They open up those Pharros contraptions, which are the haunting-looking faces in the walls. When you open one of those up, usually one of two things will happen. Either it will be a huge trap, which sucks. I inserted one on my other character into a wall in a later level in the game, and it just vomited poison all over me. Or, like we got there, it will open up an illusory wall that we can hit and break down, and that will give us access to items, usually. You could get some really good treasure or access to entire areas, like optional areas with optional bosses hidden behind those Lockstone doors. I want to at least... Yeah, that works. I want to at least knock one of these down because, yep, there's a dude behind me in this room. Oh, wait. Oh, God, I thought I got parried. I thought I got parried and riposted. Yeah, these early game fights against multiple enemies, especially these royal swordsmen, or they call them like royal soldiers or something. They're nasty enemies this early on. Also, there was another really brutal trap in this courtyard that you didn't get a chance to see because I ran straight past it and killed the enemies who were lying in wait in the window up there. Usually when you step into the courtyard, what they do is they throw firebombs down at you, and all of those barrels are explosive. They won't usually kill you unless you're at like half health from hollowing out, dying a bunch. If you're at full health, they won't usually kill you. But they do suck to get hit by. Also, fun fact, if you can manage it, you can actually get the turtle hurt by those firebombs too. What I'm trying to do, though, is I'm trying to use the ballista to kill the turtle. How did that miss? Well, his pathing appears to be screwed, so I'll take advantage of that. The ballistas are really, really powerful in the few instances you actually get to use them to kill enemies, and they're not just being used to trap you. Those ironclad turtle-looking enemies are really tough, too. They have an unblockable overhead swing, which is nasty in and of itself. And then my shield at this point is too low on stability to just block their horizontal swings. So, don't really want to mess with the turtles at close range just yet. You can totally just circle strafe them and dodge through them, but they're just very threatening right now. So I'm just being careful. This view is so gorgeous. Also, this area, this ramp, which is a sword, a giant stone sword sticking into the ground. This area you might recognize from some of the early demos of the game, or some of the early preview footage. This area once had an axe-tossing dwarf on it, and it was demoed as being what was being demoed up here was the ability to swing your melee weapons to deflect projectiles like the axes that the dwarves toss. And I don't know if that mechanic is still in the game. I've heard that there's a weapon in the game whose special property is that it allows you to deflect magic. So that should be pretty fun to PvP with. The lizard's gonna get away. It's fine. I'm right next to a bonfire. It's actually right upstairs. We're about to unlock a shortcut to it. Yep, so this is the door from the other side. The one that was locked from the other side. Now we have a very convenient shortcut back to the boss area, which is that elevator I just passed. So the crystal lizards work pretty much the same way they did in Dark Souls, as far as I know. I don't think there have been any substantial changes to the way the crystal lizard spawns work. Just like in Dark Souls, you get one crystal lizard spawn per game. That's until the lizard is killed. So if you rest at a bonfire after a lizard escapes, then the lizard will reappear, and you can try to chase him down and kill him again. As always, they're kind of a pain in the ass to hit because they're so tiny. You need like a nice overhead or underhand vertical swing to get at them. And they'll usually give you things like Twinkling Titanite, which is special upgrade material, or upgrade material for special weapons, or just standard chunks, large Titanite, small Titanite, stuff like that. Ooh, before we try to enter the boss fog and get ambushed by this guy, take him out. That's locked. I don't know what key opens that up. Anyway, we are finally about to get to our first boss fight, so let's enter the mist and do this. Oh god, this guy is awesome. So here we are fighting the last giant, who, spoilers, is not the last giant. I don't actually know why he's called that. Oh, that was close. Try not to stick to his sides, try to stay somewhat behind him. Nip at his Achilles tendon. I've seen him fall down before. I don't know if he has a mechanic like the Tower Knight or like the Iron Golem from Dark Souls, where if you hit his legs enough time, he kind of buckles and falls over. I can't seem to make that happen reliably, though. So a few things should tell you what an insane badass this boss must have been prior to our encounter with him. One, look at the shackles, the broken shackles on both of his arms and both of his legs. And then look at the thing that's impaling his chest that was kind of staking him to the ground. I love this boss. It's a really kind of simple early encounter. That's what I love about this fight. He rips his own goddamn left arm off and tries to beat you to death with it like a club. Oh god, I love that. Okay, at about half health he does that. Oh, it's so cool. It drastically increases his damage output and, more importantly, his range. Yeesh, that's close. If you stick to his sides, he does those like semicircle sweep attacks in front of him. Generally between his legs, that's the sweet spot on this fight. Oh, Jesus, I just realized what I said. And that's the fight. The only thing he can do while you're between his legs is try to stomp on you. That attack is really easy to dodge. Pretty good first fight for the game. And now that we have the Soldier's Key, along with his boss soul, we can go ahead and unlock a series of doors that now open up even more. Oh man, they don't have the crazy havoc ragdolling physics that I love so much from Demon Souls and Dark Souls that produce the dumbest situations, but man, that's worth it. They still... Oh, the physics are still broken in great ways. I love it. Anyway, we can now access a couple of very important new areas, which opens up a lot of potential in the level design. If the Forest of Fallen Giants teaches you anything as your kind of starter area beyond the things betwixt the tutorial zone, if the Forest of Fallen Giants shows you nothing, if you take nothing away from this area, it's that the degree of awesome level design has not slowed down one little bit in Dark Souls 2. The level design is still incredible. I don't have the words for it. It's awesome. Just how interconnected everything feels. I love that. I will say and we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves with what I'm about to say. It's not a spoiler or anything. The world itself, the overall world, doesn't feel quite as interconnected as Dark Souls 1's world did, where everything felt like it was branching and feeding back into the same series of hubs. It doesn't feel like everything feeds into... Each level feeds into each other level quite the way Dark Souls 1 did, but the individual levels themselves are still so incredibly designed. If you didn't catch what I got up there, opening the door in the room above with a soldier's key, got another Estus flash shard, so I'm gonna go use that. Okay, I am back. I have my extra Estus shard. I've spent a couple of my souls. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna head back out this way, but we're not heading back to the elevator. No, we're coming back in through the door that we came in to unlock the shortcut. Let me get the lizard real quick. Should be able to get him this time. Not distracted with this other soldier, who has respawned. Luckily didn't hit him, though. All he gives you is a couple Titanite shards. Not too bad early on in the game. Upgrading seems to be a lot more important this time around. Ah! Don't poke me in the back like that. And... oh. Anytime you see an enemy shield bash you, it's usually a better idea to dodge roll it if at all possible, rather than try to block it. Those shield bashes do a ton of damage to your stamina. Also, is there anything up here yeah, I didn't check around up here before. Couple life gems, homeward bones, not bad. That is our second usage of the soldier key. I think there are like 4 or 5 doors in this area that are unlocked with that key. Gonna at least be exploring a couple of those right now, as we make our way over to the second boss. Took 4 episodes to get to our first boss fight, but now we're gonna have 2 in a row. But before I step through the fog, I think these are, yeah, life gems and a soul. Oh, I didn't see the third one coming, it was so delayed. Pop a life gem and top off before I go into the boss. That's what I really love about life gems, is you don't have to waste your Estus. If you're like me and you just hate not being topped up, you can just top yourself off with a life gem. Now let's watch another really awesome cutscene. He's a Cylon. Kill this toaster! So yeah, I had a really silly death. He managed to get a 3-hit combo off just as I was starting to raise my shield. Ooh, that's what I was saying earlier when I was talking about those shield bashes doing a lot of damage to your stamina. So this fight is not necessarily super hard, but with this amount of health, if you let him chip away at you and you block a couple of his hits with a shield that doesn't block 100% of damage, and then you eat a combo, yeah, he'll still wreck you. He'll still do a whole lot of damage. One interesting thing about this boss's arena, you might notice that there are 2 ballistas at either end of the room. I think he destroyed one, and there goes the other. If you can manage to position him in front of one of those and give yourself enough time to pull the trigger on him, they do about 990 damage to him. He has 1,000 health. They will almost one-shot him. Oh, gotta make sure I don't make the same mistake twice. Ah. I cannot for the life of me figure out the timing to roll through that shield. So I always just wind up getting staggered and having my stamina depleted. Oh no! Oh god, I thought I was gonna get hit by the curse stab. When his blade starts glowing blue like that, it's an unblockable attack, and he curses you. Curse is not nearly as scary in this game as it was in Dark Souls 1. In Dark Souls 1, Curse would kill you, and when you respawn, your health would be set to 50% of the maximum until you broke the curse. In Dark Souls 2, it does not kill you, and all it does is reduce your maximum HP by 5%, much like dying does. And that's until you pop a human effigy. You get cursed enough times, though, it starts to become a real problem. I think that cursed attack, when he hits you with it, he also buffs himself. So that's something to watch out for. Another fun fact about this boss is most of his attacks, save for I think 2 of them, are able to be parried. That attack I don't think is parryable, and he has one other. The thing is, though, you cannot riposte him. Whoa, whoa! I don't see him do that much, and it's scary whenever he does it. He starts poking away at you. So, oh, that could have been the end. Nah, it would have been close. It would have been scary. So about the Pursuer, this is the boss who was dropped on us earlier. He was carpet bombed on us by a crow. Interesting little fact about this boss. He is dropped on you by a crow, and remember who the crows in Dark Souls 1 were generally associated with. They were associated with Velka, the goddess of sin, the rogue god associated with sin. And the Pursuer, we know from item descriptions, is hunting cursed undead down in a bid to atone for his own sins. So it seems highly likely that the Pursuer is an agent of Velka, which means Velka is still around in some capacity. All these, it must be hundreds, maybe thousands of years in the future, when knowledge of Lordran and the events that transpired in the first game became ancient, almost forgotten knowledge. Ancient history. Velka is still alive and kicking in some capacity, or at least she still has followers willing to fight and kill in her name. Gives me hope that we might discover some interesting things about Velka down the road. We have another one of these petrified giants. Remember, the merchant near the Cardinal Tower bonfire told us that the giants, that the trees were formed in this area were formed of giants. We'll find something to do with those later. For now, let's take a ride. And even though we killed its master, the crow drops us in a very handy location in the Lost Bastille, which is going to be the next area we go through in the next episode. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.